Hello everyone, George Packard here. I want to talk to you today a little bit about trying to make money with a lawn care company in a small town. Now it's very difficult to make money in a small town. I know because I've done it. I have worked in a small town of like 8,000 people for most of my life, and I found it extremely difficult to scale. And you can't really scale in a small town, and I'm going to explain some of these things for you. So it's hard to make a good living, I should say. It's a nice little side hustle when you're in a small town of 10,000 people, but it's very difficult to make a good living doing that, especially if all you're doing is lawn care, okay? It's a different story if you're into landscaping or things like that. You can, even then, it's a stretch to make a lot of money. You tend to have to spread out. So if you're in a small town, you usually have a half a dozen competitors in your town that you're trying to compete with, and you get into a larger population, you're dealing with hundreds and hundreds of guys. So competition's competition, whether it's in a small town or whether it's in a big city, you know. So take something like Dallas, Texas, or something in Florida where you have a massive amount of people, you have millions of people that live there, versus a small town of 10,000 people. It's hard to make a living in that town, okay, especially with a seasonal job like lawn care. I wish somebody would have told me this early on. I used to watch guys like Lawn Care Millionaire and stuff like that, who I greatly respect, but he branched out into bigger areas, bigger populations. And apparently I missed that somewhere along the line when I was starting out and going, because I just thought I could blow up this multi-million-dollar business in this small little town of 10,000 people. Turns out it didn't happen that way. I had to start up another company in Florida where I was dealing with millions of people. That's when I really started to see a lot of revenue being made, okay? You're kind of beating a dead horse when you're in a small town. And what I mean by that is, when you get into these small towns, you know, you have, say you have the 10,000 people, let's just use that as an example. As you market to them, you can market the shit to those people. You can pound it into their heads day in and day out that, hey, I'm the best thing since buttered popcorn, and, you know, basically I'm just a lawn care guy out here. And there's only so many people that are going to use your services. There's only so many people. Every year I would try different types of marketing, and you should always do that anyway, but I always try different types of marketing, be it door hangers, small 18 by 24 inch signs, 4 by 8 inch signs, newspaper ads, you name it, I tried it, social media, whatever. And at the end of the day, what I mean by you're beating a dead horse is you only have that population, that populace of 10,000 people. That's what you're trying to make a living off of, okay? And you got 6 other competitors in your town, or maybe 10 other competitors or whatever, that are trying to do the same thing you are, okay? So I just want to bring this video to you guys' attention to try to help you to learn quicker than me, for example. So I stayed here for 10 years and beat myself to death at the same 10,000 people trying to make a living at it. And even though we made money, it was nothing scalable. I could never scale it in a small town, okay? Now, I got a friend of mine that I talked to. He was a YouTube guy that called me up, and he's like, hey, he says, I really am doing good. I'm doing $3.5 million in my territory here. Doing lawn care and just doing shrubs and trees and stuff like that. He's like, I'm doing $3.5 million. And I said to him, I said, well, what do you net profit? What's your profit after you paid everything? You know, all your employees, your trucks, your fuel, your insurances, your licenses, all your overhead expenses. What did you make? And he said about $150,000. And I thought to myself, you did $3.5 million and you only profited $150,000? That's horrible. That's a horrible percentage. And that guy's not making money. So he's doing some things that, it's hard in the trade when you have a ton of competition too. It's hard to make that money. You really got to outmarket your competition, and you got to set your prices high enough. And people are afraid to do that because they're afraid they're going to get priced out of the market. Well, if I set my prices too high, they'll just say, oh, well, I can hire a guy out here. You're going to have lowballers all day long that are tire kickers that are going to do that. They're going to look for a better price regardless. Those aren't the ones you want. The ones you want are the people that just moved to town, don't have a lawn care company, and you're their guy. You want to go after those people. You want to go after somebody that has limited resources, somebody that is just out there that says, hey, I'll just be happy to have somebody show up to mow my grass. Set your price where you need it to be and stick with it. Forget about that lowballing crap. All right, good little side hustle. If you're working your job and you want to go cut lawns after work, that's what I did. That's how I started to grow my business. But again, I want you guys in a small town, because that's what this video is designed for, the guys in a small town. I want you to pay attention to what I said about you can beat that horse to death in that small town and not get any bigger, okay? Or you grow very, very small, very, very little at all, and it's just not worth your time to do it. So, good little side hustle if you want to do it. The sooner you guys realize this, the better off you're going to be. And an example would be get into something else that has better profit margins. Get into something that actually makes money. For example, and I don't hate to plug my own business. Of course, I love my own business. This right here behind me, this mosquito police thing, here's my plug for that. I'm in about 1/3 of the state of Wisconsin right now, and we make damn good money. And the reason for that is because it's a newer business. Not everybody and their brother is into it. It's a super scalable business versus trying to do lawn care in a small town. Hope you guys learned something from today's message. Talk to you soon.